Lord Vishnu assumed the form of Shankachuta and then went to Tulasī-deví's palace. When he approached the entrance, he created the appearance of victory, causing everyone to beat their drums and to shout, "Jai! Jai! Victory! Victory!" Tulasī-devī was awakened from sleep. When she realized that her husband had returned, she observed all auspicious rites. Lord Vishnu then went to Tulasī's apartment. When she saw the Lord and thought he was her husband, she was most happy. Drinking him in with wide eyes and a smiling face, Tulasī sweetly asked him about the events of the battle. Lord Vishnu laughed and said in a very sweet voice, "When I reached the battlefield, there was a terrible clamor. A big battle then followed. The demigods fought the demons, and each side was eager for victory. The demigods defeated the demons. But then I fought the powerful demigods. Those whom I defeated sought shelter of Lord Shiva. Then Lord Shiva, to help them, fought me for a long time. My dear wife, Lord Shiva and I fought continuously for 1 year. All the demons were killed. Then Lord Brahma made us agree to peace. Thus, Lord Brahma's order then, the powers of authority were reassigned to the demigods. So, I have come home, and Lord Shiva has gone to his abode in Shivaloka. All have returned to health and normalcy. Thus the great trouble has ended." Lord Vishnu then lay down on a bed with Tulasī-devī and became intimate with her. Chapter 15. The Final Battle. At this time on the battlefield, the real king Shankachuta, without his armor, approached Lord Shiva, who then seized his blazing trident to slay the demon. The trident's name was Vijay, and it was as bright as 100 summer suns. It was the topmost of all weapons. None but Lord Vishnu or Lord Shiva could wield it, and everyone except those two were afraid of this trident. Lord Shiva raised the trident high, aimed and hurled it at Shankachuta. Seeing it coming, the demon king dropped his bow and arrows, collected his mind, sat down in a yoga posture, and meditated on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna with great devotion. The trident whirled around Shankachuta's head for some time. Then, at Lord Shiva's command, it smashed into the demon's head. It burned him and his chariot to ashes. Thereafter, the trident returned to Lord Shiva, and then left for the airways at the speed of the mind. Finally, it returned with force and gladness to Lord Narayan. From the heavens, flowers continuously rained down upon Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu, Brahma, Indra, and other notables praised Lord Shiva. Out of compassion, Lord Shiva tossed the bones of Shankachuta into the sea. these bones became transformed into all the conch shells in the world. Lord Shiva then mounted his bull carrier and with all his followers returned to his own residence. All the demigods also returned to their abodes with great joy. Before leaving, Lord Shiva favored Shankachuta by releasing him from the curse, and thus he regained his original form as the cowherder boy Sudama in Goloka, Vrindavan. Adorned with jewels, holding a flute, mounted on a divine chariot, and surrounded by numerous cowherder boys from Goloka, Vrindavan, Shankachuta then flew to the spiritual sky Goloka, which is full of devotees of Lord Krishna. Such devotees all have various transcendental relationships with him. When Sudama saw Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, he bowed down to their lotus feet with devotion. Seeing him, the divine couple were filled with love for him, and with kind faces and joyful eyes, lifted him up and took him upon their laps. Chapter 16. Tulsi curses Lord Vishnu. Meanwhile, back at the palace, Tulasī-devī was still lying on the bed with Lord Vishnu. He was still disguised as her husband, Shankachuta. Suddenly she realized that there was a distinct difference. A difference in the way her husband had expressed his affection to her in the past from the way he had just expressed it. This made her suspicious, and she began to wonder whether this man with whom she had just become intimate with was actually her husband. Then, not feeling the same happiness, affection, and attraction, she looked at him with distrust. Tulsi then said, You're not. Realizing in the core of her heart that he was not her husband, she asked, Who are you? Tulsi then became very angry. Yes, who are you? I want to know immediately, for I know you have deceived me only to enjoy me. You have desecrated my modesty, my chastity. For this, I curse you. Lord Vishnu then assumed his own true beautiful form. Tulsi saw the Lord of the demigods before her. Seeing Vasudev's handsome form, Tulsi fainted. A few moments later, she regained consciousness. Then she said, Oh Lord, you are like a stone. You are merciless. You violated my chastity by deception, and by this means you have killed my husband. Oh Lord, you are merciless. Yes, your heart is like a stone. Therefore I curse you to become a stone. Those who call you holy are doubtlessly wrong. Your devotee committed no offense, and yet for the sake of others you killed him. Why? Why? Overpowered with grief and sadness, Tulsi cried loudly and repeatedly lamented. Seeing her so upset, Lord Narayan, who is an ocean of mercy, tried to console Tulsi according to religious rules. The Lord said, "O exalted one, you performed austerities for a long time to get me as your husband. And Shankachuda also performed austerities for a long time to get you as his wife. And by that austerity, he fulfilled his wish. It was then necessary for me to fulfill your wish. For this reason, I did what I did. Now, you may leave your earthly body and assume a spiritual body. Now, be married to me. Be like Lakshmi. Your body will become a famous river known as Gandaki, a virtuous, pure, and transparent river in this holy land of India. Your hairs will be transformed into holy trees. And since the trees will be born of you, they will be known as Tulsi trees. All the residents of the three worlds will perform worship with the leaves and flowers of this tree. Thus you, Tulsi, will reign as the best among trees and flowers." Chapter 17. The blessings Tulasī-devī bestows. Lord Narayan continued speaking and continued blessing Tulasī-devī. Most notably among the many benedictions one receives by being connected to Tulsi leaves are as follows. If at the time of death one drinks or gets Tulsi leaf water, one is freed of all sins and proceeds to Vaikuntha. Whoever drinks Tulsi leaf water daily will be redeemed in one's lifetime and receive the benefit of a dip in the Ganges. Whoever plucks a Tulsi leaf, keeps it on his or her own body, and then leaves that body in a holy place, will go to Vishnu Loka. Anyone who leaves his or her body while holding a Tulsi leaf in one's hands will be saved from all sins. Finally, Lord Narayan blessed Tulsi. You will always be the presiding deity of the Tulsi plant here on earth. And at the same time, you will always sport with Sri Krishna in solitude in Goloka. You will also be the presiding deity of the Gandaki river, and thereby you will shower India with religious merit. You will further be the wife of the ocean of salt, which is my partial expansion. O chaste goddess Tulsi, you will always remain personally by my side and enjoy my company just as Lakshmi does. Chapter 18. Blessings of Shalagram Shila. Lord Hari continued, As for me, by your curse, I will become a stone and remain close to the bank of the Gandaki river. Millions of Vajrakiti worms with their sharp teeth will make convolutions or rings in the stones. Those stones represent me. These stones will be known as shalagrams, or sacred stones. Lord Hari proceeded to describe the many different kinds of Shilas, who would best benefit from worshipping, and the benedictions received by one worshipping Shalagram. Wherever there are Shalagram stones, Lord Hari himself exists. And wherever Lord Hari is, Goddess Lakshmi and all the holy places also exist. By worshipping Shalagram Shila, one destroys the sin of having killed a Brahmin, or what to speak of any other type of sin. Lord Hari also outlined that by worshipping Shalagram stones of various shapes, different effects take place, some favorable and some disastrous to the worshipper. The Lord then said, if one observes vows, offers gifts, consecrates a temple, performs the Shraddha or funeral ceremonies, or worships the demigods before the Shalagram Shila, all these acts become highly exalted. If one worships the Shalagram Shila, one acquires the merits of bathing in all the tirthas, holy places, and being initiated into all the Vedic sacrifices. Furthermore, one acquires all the merits acquired by performing all the Vedic sacrifices, by visiting all the holy places, by fulfilling vows, by practicing all austerities, and by reading all the Vedas. Without a doubt, the demigods are pleased with that person who daily worships the Shalagram Shila. One becomes so holy that even all the holy places desire that person's touch. Indeed, one becomes a Jivan Mukta, liberated even while in one's physical body. By worshipping Shalagram Shila, one becomes very godly. Ultimately, he or she goes to Vaikuntha and serves Lord Hari there eternally. Anyone who while dying drinks the Shalagram Shila water will be freed from all sins and go to Vaikuntha. He or she also becomes completely freed from the effects of karma, material action and reaction, and without a doubt becomes forever absorbed in the vision of Lord Vishnu's feet. However, the Lord did point out that one who tells lies or breaks a promise while holding the Shalagram in one's hands goes to hell. The Lord concluded by saying, one who worships Shalagram Shila without offering tulsi leaves on it, or who separates the leaves from the stone, will have to suffer separation from his own wife in the next birth. And if one does not offer the tulsi leaves in a conch, he remains without his wife for 7 births and becomes diseased. One who maintains Shalagram Shila, the tulsi, and the conch in the same place becomes very dear to Lord Narayan. O Tulsi, as it is painful for a person to be separated from one's beloved whose company was once enjoyed, you were the dearmost of Shankachuda for 1 Manvantara. So it is now very difficult for you to be separated from him. Chapter 19. Tulsi returns to the spiritual world. When Lord Hari stopped speaking, Tulsi left her physical body, assumed a celestial form, and went to Vaikuntha. Lord Hari also went with her, and there she frequented his heart, just as Goddess Lakshmi does. As soon as Tulasī-devī quit her physical body, the body became the Gandaki River, and Lord Hari manifested himself as the mountain on the bank of that river, which gives spiritual merit to the people of the world. Thus ends the story of Tulsi.